Earlier this year, I watched the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once. I quickly fell in love with its humor, emotionally resonant plot, and endless creativity. Written and directed by the filmmaker duo known as the Daniels, Everything Everywhere has been lauded by critics and audiences alike as a miracle of indie filmmaking. Word of mouth has boosted the movie so much that it recently passed Hereditary in the box office to become A24's highest grossing film to date. I've seen the movie 3 times now. It's quickly joined the ranks of my favorite movies of all time, and gets better with each viewing. And with the idea of recency bias squarely behind me, I've started examining what about the movie is so effective. I think the answer lies in the art of rewatching films. People often rewatch their favorite films. The act of watching a comfort film is something that fills people with warm memories of the past and generally makes them feel better. But revisiting a movie can be an essential part of forming a full picture of its story and the finer details of its themes and visual cues. Everything Everywhere is the perfect example of a film where the audience's enjoyment of it is bolstered by multiple viewings. There will be spoilers in this discussion, so if you have not seen the film, I strongly recommend you do so before watching this video. With that taken care of, let's examine the opening shot of the film, which, by the way, if you want to know more about the importance of first shots, be sure to check out our video essay about them on the channel. We open with the camera holding on a mirror, reflecting a happy family enjoying what appears to be a karaoke night. The emotional music backing the scene fades out, and the family in the mirror disappears. Something knocks into the shelf the mirror is on, causing its face to fall, displaying a table full of tax documents. In one's first viewing of the film, the takeaway from this shot might just be, well, that's cool what they did with the mirror, and it's fair to fixate on the technical aspects of the cinematography, but there's a lot more to unpack. The film from this point on largely centers on Evelyn's desire to be leading a different life. We learn in the film's opening 20 minutes that she resents her husband Waymond. Her daughter Joy is estranged in large part since she is gay, and Evelyn desperately seeks her father's approval for everything. Evelyn eventually gets into all kinds of crazy parallel universe jumping and puts in a great deal of emotional work to resolve these issues, but it's the zanier aspects of the film that seek to inform the family drama underneath this plot. The mirror in the first shot can be interpreted in a couple of different ways. It can act as a projection for one of the family's last happy memories, juxtaposing the depressing reality of Evelyn's overwhelming tax documents and endless worries. But the mirror also represents mirror universes, a term to describe the multiverse made popular by the classic 1967 Star Trek episode, Mirror Mirror, an episode in which Kirk travels to a parallel universe much like his own, only to discover that he and the rest of the Enterprise's crew are evil, twisted reflections of the people he knows back home. The family in the mirror is completely disconnected from the present family's dysfunctional reality, almost as if they were from a different world entirely. The whole sequence feels like a clever bit of foreshadowing, considering that the film later explores Evelyn's contentment in separating from her universe. The idea of simply taking over a more successful Evelyn's life is an attractive prospect to her. She looks into the mirror and projects a happier version of herself, one free from the regret she feels about her own life. Aside from our opening shot, there are all kinds of little details that viewers might not notice their first time around. For example, the sign spinner outside of the auditor's building that will later become an alternate version of Evelyn that she will channel during a key fight sequence, or the real-life clips of Michelle Yeoh's film career, and even how the song Absolutely, aka Story of a Girl, is playing in different spots throughout the movie, even during some kinkier sections. The value of rewatching films not only lies in the smaller details, the way the plot progresses can also completely change in revisiting a story with more intimate knowledge of its course. The film in its opening 30 minutes is frenetic. The audience is not barraged with exposition so much as it is dropped into a family story right in its middle. Much like Evelyn, the audience is overwhelmed with information about several different plot threads and given no time to digest any of it. The sense of confusion keeps the audience intrigued, hoping to comprehend the characters and their goals at some point down the line. One of the first solid plot points the audience can follow clearly is the introduction of Wayman's divorce papers. The film utilizes dramatic irony, cluing the audience in with a shot focusing on the heading of Wayman's papers, a blunt request for the dissolution of his and Evelyn's marriage. The initial viewing holds the audience in suspense for about 20 minutes before finally letting our protagonist in on it. The true irony revealed in the second viewing is that Evelyn and the audience were made aware of the papers from nearly the very beginning of the story. Shortly after the opening shot of the film, Wayman comes into the room, papers in hand, and desperately tries to capture Evelyn's attention. A moment in the first viewing that started our curiosity about Wayman's intentions transforms into a tragic realization that Evelyn simply does not pay enough attention to Wayman to notice his urgency. He never intended to surprise Evelyn with the papers. It was his goal from the beginning to talk to her, to try and work things out. Suddenly, the knowledge of future events cascades throughout the first 30 minutes. Joy's attempts to get through to her mother, Evelyn's constant overriding worry her father will disown her, and the regret Evelyn feels about the choices in life she's made take front and center. The audience is given the chance to face the more personal and grounded aspects of the film and pull meaning from the crazier parts of the movie due to their deeper understanding of the film's emotional foundation. All the universes, all the jokes, all the breakthroughs and tear-jerking moments are connected to the foundation of Evelyn's feelings. Like the map of infinite possible universes that Evelyn is given, the audience is allowed a glimpse at the vast range of feelings and philosophical questions that rack each of us as we make our own decisions and live with the consequences.